Hey everybody, I'm Catherine Sprung and I'm going to be making peanut butter cookies. Now I know that sounds super easy and what's so exciting about that, but this was all a part of the Navy Cakes series of videos we're doing based off of a recent trip to the Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum here in New York City, and there were a bunch of different recipe cards there, and one of them was for the peanut butter cookies that we're going to be making right now. And it's so easy, it's so nostalgic. I mean, of course, unless you have a peanut allergy, like, don't do this one, but otherwise, this is a really great, accessible recipe. Typically, when I make cookies on my own, I'm very methodical about the steps and how long things should whip and at what point you add them. This one, could not be easier. This is the equivalent to me of like a dump cake where just all the ingredients go in. So this is going to be great, and especially if you don't have patience for lots of different steps and things like that, this one's for you. So let's get started. So I have my mixer with a paddle attachment, my mixing bowl, and all of our ingredients are just going to go right on in. So first I'm going to sift in our flour. I have 2.6 ounces of that. And I will say too that this original recipe was meant for 200 cookies. So if that's what you're into, just scale this up, but this recipe is going to yield about a dozen. Next we have our sugar going in. I have 1.6 ounces of white granulated sugar and 1.3 ounces of brown sugar. Then I have room temperature butter, and we're doing 0.8 ounces of that and 0.53 ounces of room temperature shortening, vegetable shortening that is. I then have 1 egg. I did room temperature. I have 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Then I have 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And last but not least, the very important part, the peanut butter. So I have 3.6 ounces of peanut butter, just going right in. All right, and then we mix it up. All right, so our mixture is ready. Couldn't have been easier. You really just want to mix it until all of the ingredients are fully incorporated and it comes together and it looks like cookie dough. You don't want to over mix it, but now that it's ready, we're going to get our baking sheet. I have one with a silicone mat here, and we're just going to portion our cookies out. I'm going to do 6 on the tray here, and I've got my trusty little cookie scoop here. So let's move our mixer out of the way. It's done its job. And we'll just go ahead and portion those out. Okay, so we have our 6 on our tray, but we don't want to leave them just like this. The recipe card does call for flattening them out to 1/8 of an inch. Now you don't have to bust out your ruler, it's okay. I'm going to show you the thickness that we're looking for here. I did this once before in another cookie recipe where I found my perfect tool, which was this spool of twine, but any kind of measuring cup or jar lid that you have with a flat surface to just kind of press these down is going to be perfect. So I also have a little piece of bakery tissue. You can use parchment paper also, just so that this part is not touching your cookie. And we're just going to flatten them out. All right, so our cookies are nice and flattened, and these are going to bake basically in this shape. Now, if you do want a little bit of a softer, cakier type of a cookie, don't flatten them out so much. These are going to give you a bit of a crisper, like melt in your mouth kind of cookie, which is really nice, and this is how they called for it, so this is what we're going to do. I have the oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the recipe card called for these to bake at 12 minutes. I personally thought that that was a little bit long for these, so I would recommend scaling that down and dialing it back a little bit. I would recommend doing more of like the 8 to 10 minute mark. So for me, 8 minutes was really perfect so that those edges were nice and golden brown and they didn't get over baked. But again, just check them and make sure that they're looking nice to you. But go back a little bit first, and then if it ends up taking 12 minutes, so be it. I just found that they cooked a little bit faster than I thought that they would. So we're gonna go ahead and pop these in and check them out once they're done. Our cookies are out of the oven. I ended up doing 8 minutes. That was kind of the sweet spot for me, no pun intended, but they're beautifully baked. They still have a bit of that softness on the inside, but a nice golden brown exterior. And I mean, 8 minutes, like how fast is that? So if you're in a pinch, you don't need to chill dough the night before. You really just dump everything into the bowl, mix it up, scoop it out, bake for 8 minutes, and you're good to go. So for a treat that's actually a bit on the healthier side too, you get that protein-packed peanut butter in there. This is the perfect thing to make. So hope you enjoyed the recipe. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you guys next time.